Hello and welcome to the fourth International Conference on Educational Technology and Online Learning. I'm Kenan Çetin, and together with Dr. Arda Şimşek, we examined the link between pre-service EFL teachers' digital homework engagement and online course achievement. Our interest in examining such a relationship came after our observations on the interesting behaviors among the students, especially in their online assignment submissions. Of course, numerous studies exist in examining student engagement with online homeworks, and there are findings indicating an influence on educational success. But despite expectations, we observe that students tend to submit assignments at the last minute, and this may affect their performance, while it may even affect their stress levels. We also came across some studies indicating that submitting early is linked with better performance, but we argue that this phenomenon needs a closer examination, especially in the post-pandemic era where online education is a more concrete reality. And based on the previous explanations, this study aims to closely examine the online assignment submission behaviors of undergraduate EFL learners with a focus on late submissions. Accordingly, we identified three research questions. First one examines the link between late submissions and the type of an individual in initiating assignments. For example, a person who starts their homework in the first couple of days is an early initiator. The second one is related to the link between academic performance and the time of submission. In other words, if a person submits their work early, are they high achievers or are they not? And lastly, we took a closer look at the behavior of late submissions in different times of the day. In other words, we asked if we change the deadline to 6 a.m., will there still be late submitters? For methodology, we can say that this is an explorative study based on quantitative results. We also plan to collect and analyze qualitative data in the future. All data were collected on Microsoft Forms, where students uploaded their assignments. And a small questionnaire was also administered to the students. And in total, 98 pre-service EFL teachers participated in this study. The first finding related to the type of initiators was analyzed in three separate timelines. The timeline starts at 24 hours left for submission. And on the right, last-minute submissions are placed between 1 and 0. This figure also shows us the type of initiators based on the questions we asked them. Early initiators, for example, on the top, are illustrated in circles, and mid initiators have a triangle shape, and late initiators are squares. We can see that late submission occurs regardless of the type of initiation. In other words, even if a participant starts working early, they may submit late. This finding showed that the timing of starting to conduct research and writing the assignment is not a strong indicator of when a student will submit their work. Our second finding gave us a plot based on the final scores and hours left for submission. This time we have a wider axis and each homework submission is represented with a circle. The higher the circle is placed in the axis, the higher the score. Although we see that the late submissions are very crowded at the top side, we can also see that early submitters can also have low scores. We also see that most of the points are scattered outside of the expected area. This shows us that homework submission time is not a strong indicator of academic performance measured by the final scores of the participants and based on our correlation tests. Our final finding was to see what happens when we change the deadline. Here we can see in the first timeline that the deadline is 6 a.m. in the morning, and still most participants submitted late. In the middle, we see 2:30 as the deadline, and the timeline is still similar. Interestingly, we see fewer late submitters in 5:30 as the deadline, but still the picture is not much different at this hour of the day. This finding indicated that students submit late regardless of the time of the day. Our conclusion was that there was no significant relationship between the timing of the homework submission and the performance of the participant. The results challenge existing assumptions about the straightforward benefits of early assignment submission on academic performance, suggesting that other individual or environmental factors may play more critical roles in influencing students' engagement with digital homework in online language learning settings. We also concluded that this insight could lead to a re-evaluation of strategies used in EFL teaching, emphasizing a more nuanced understanding of students' digital homework engagement. And further studies are needed to reveal the reasons behind these behaviors. And in general, the research suggests providing clear and detailed assignment instructions, setting intermediate deadlines, and using technology to support time management, such as calendars and to-do lists. These can be effective in online education settings. And as a final note, thank you for listening.